Welcome to Channel AMEC, your insight to the Australian visa system. Good day everyone, my name is Carl Young, your online YouTube visa consultant. Are you interested about migrate to Australia? Why don't you consider to subscribe to my channel and turn on the bell on the side so once you have all the updates and news, you'll be the first one getting all the insight. Now today's video, I would like to compare a little bit about countries of Canada and Australia. It has been long-term debate by the immigration world where which country is better, and commonly these two countries has been compared over the years or past probably 10 to 20 years because there's similarity. They're not United States, and also they are not UK, so they are not superpower, but they have the abundance, the living lifestyles, and also obviously the educations. Now over the past few years, after the pandemic, there has been a major changes. Now, recently I have come across this similar news or media reports in regards to the numbers of immigrants are departing Canada, and it's actually concerning the country. And well, this is just one of the media, but if you wanted to do a search over Google, whatever the browser or search engine, or probably use ChatGPT or the AI tools, you may find there are tons of this kind of information out there, and there are a lot of people are leaving Canada. Now I wanted to first compare the two countries first, and then go into the actual reasons why people are leaving Canada, and then we will arrive at the finalizing my comments in regard how that will actually affect and how perhaps Canada is actually saving Australia. Now, first of all, the two countries are, well, they are large, they are continental country, they're pretty big. So Canada is actually second largest, and the Australia is the sixth largest. Now, the two countries are, again, not superpower, but population-wise, not that much. So Australia is about 26, 27 million, and Canada, I believe, the 35 or 36. So not much of differences between the two nations. Apart from that, they all heavily relied on primary productions. For example, Australia relies on a lot of mining and the agri-food. Canada is similar, but Canada probably not much of mining, but a lot of timbers, a lot of I think petroleum as well. So very similar. And again, they are both heavily rely on international educations. So because a lot of people want to go to United States to study, but if they cannot reach the good university in United States, obviously there are people going to the not the very good one, but probably bad ones. So choosing between bad one or going to university in Canada or Australia, perhaps people actually choose Canada and Australia. So that is the reason that Canada and Australia has been numbers of the top international study or education destinations for the past 10-20 years, apart from UK and USA. Now the other thing is similar is obviously they are all English speaking countries, which is the most preferential country that international students would like to go, again obviously towards their future career-wise. So it has been paving such trend for 10-20 years. Now over the past few years, there's now first of all, Canada has about 90 plus universities. Now Australia is about 44-45, so it's about half. However, in 2012, Australia has officially overtaken Canada for the numbers of international students preferred to the destination for preferential destination for study overseas. So now coming to the problem now. The problem is obviously after pandemic, the inflations has caused a lot of problems. So if you do a little bit of the search on YouTube or whatever the media, you can tell the price and the cost of living in Canada has risen dramatically, almost double, almost 100% after pandemic. It's huge. Now, compared to the residential prices, houses, accommodations, Canada is actually more dearer, more expensive than Australia. So what had happened is over the past, I believe, probably not even a year, a few months, less than a year, there has been a lot of people leaving Canada just because the cost of living. So the housing crisis now, that's similar to what Australia is actually experiencing. Now, Australia is also experiencing inflation, but not as dramatic as what Canada and a lot of European countries is actually experiencing. And also the cost of the transportation and time zone differences. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention here is I'm talking about the differences now. Obviously, the worldwide has actually experienced a pandemic, but why is it different? I think the severity of this effect in Canada is actually further than more than what Australia is actually experiencing. I think it's because it's a geographical issues. Now, Canada is obviously it's at the northern part of the Earth, and it's actually colder. All parts of Canada snows. Now, apart from the large city from the East Coast and West Coast, not many cities or towns is actually preferential for immigrants to actually go there. Despite that, the government of Canada has heavily promoted people to go to those areas, but it's just not, it's not just a comfort living, places to be. So that is the major problem. Now, Australia, obviously, there's a desert in the center of Australia. However, those so-called regional areas in Australia is still good. It is still all right, and the cost of living is not as severe as what is actually experienced in Canada. So these immigrants are leaving, despite there are more migrants going into Canada. But because all these kind of issues, you can see all the English countries, all the nations are actually restricting the number and quotas for migrants to moving into their countries. So the problem caused here, that's the reason I have chosen the topic to talk about how perhaps Canada is actually saving Australia. Now, if we only solely looking into the problem that Australia is actually experiencing, obviously, if you have been following my channel, you know about there has only been one invitation for skill migration for subclass 189 visa. That was late December, and since then nothing happened. A lot of law changes, student visa refusals, all the bad news, and talking about the government of Australia nowadays. It's not popular. Everybody hates them. Perhaps I'm not too sure, but all the media say so. Now, despite all this domestic news and media, but if we compare internationally, perhaps Canada is actually saving Australia. No, not just Canada, but the problem in Europe and also UK, the inflations. It's actually dramatically causing a lot of issue. I've seen people moving into UK for a couple of years and they decided to leave. Now, a lot of the British traditionally would like to go to Spain and other southern side of the Europe, but the inflation is still causing a lot of issues after pandemic. So apart from all that, all these people has a preferential destination. perhaps that will be Australia. My personal preferences probably will be somewhere in Asia, but for English speaking, if you don't speak Asian language, perhaps Australia will still be a better place to go. And that explains why there has been problem causing in Canada, but we haven't seen any kind of similar news or media talking about migrants leaving or departing Australia, because still there are a lot of people coming to Australia and they want to stick to Australia despite all the laws are changing and causing a lot of people not getting their renewal of visas. So I think personally, probably Canada is actually really saving Australia. I don't know how you view about that, but when I see those news, I try to search a similar terms where there's possible immigrants leaving or departing Australia, like the trend that it's actually happening in Canada, and there are a few media talking about that in Europe and UK, but we haven't really seen anything like that in Australia. Will Australia experience that later? I don't know, but looking into the real estate markets, there are still people going in, a lot. Not just a few, there's still people going in. And plus, I think last but not least, talking about not just the immigration and international education, Australia is actually one of the best tourism destination as well. And also, it's the closest English-speaking country to Asia, where the majority of manufacturing and powerhouses are merging all together. Anyway, should you have more question, query, more than welcome to leave a comment right down below. And I'll see you next video. Goodbye.